Hello class, welcome to our lesson today of section 3.2, which deals with adding rational numbers. We're going to look at each of these sections kind of in 2 days to make sure that we have time to practice and understand what we need to look at. First thing that I want you to deal with today is these 6 questions. Take a moment and pause the video and try these 6 out. Remember, with integers, the goal with addition is, are they the same sign? Should I add them together? Or are they different signs and they subtract each other? So try these 6 questions out. Make sure you understand what you're looking at. I know it's tempting to plug a lot of things into calculators, but these types of questions, make sure you try them and see if you can get the answer. You want to keep practicing your arithmetic pieces as you're dealing with these questions. Okay, here's all 6 answers. Just quickly here, the first one you should have added together and make it negative. Second one, subtract, and it's positive because the bigger number is positive. Same thing on number 3. Number 4, subtract because they're different signs, but the answer is negative. Number 5, bigger number's positive, but it's subtraction. Number 6 should be addition because they're both negative and make the answer negative. Okay, that idea has to be found quickly to be able to understand what you need to do for rational numbers. Okay, when adding rational numbers, we're just going to go through a lot of situations here. And so there's some visuals. I didn't draw them perfect, but it gets the idea across. So if this was just 2 plus negative 3, you go forward 2 and back 3. That's a subtraction question. Well, the fact that it's 2.7 and 3.4 doesn't change anything. It's still subtraction. So 3.4 minus 2.7 would be 0.7, but the same ideas apply. Which is bigger? And the negative 3.4 is larger, so it's negative 0.7 as your answer. All 4 of these questions are the same idea. Decimals are typically easier to understand for a lot of students. There's a little bit less work unless there's common denominators. One of each, so subtraction, so it should be 0.2, bigger number is negative. Subtraction here, because one's positive, one's negative, 1.3, but the bigger number's negative. Fractions, same idea. Notice I made these both improper for those of you that like to do adding and subtracting that way. I should do subtraction, okay, of these two numbers. 5 minus 3 would be 2, but the bigger number is negative. And then always simplify your fractions, okay, when you're dealing with those scenarios. And the easiest question is this last one because they're the same fraction, just one's positive and one's negative, so the answer should always be 0. Remember, when it's one positive, one negative, as you're adding, it's really a subtraction problem, and then you figure out which answer is bigger, and then it'll be negative or positive based upon that. This next question, notice it's a negative and another negative. Well, whatever you did with integers, same idea should apply here. You're going back and back some more. So really you're doing addition. I left this one as a mixed number, so -1 and nothing is -1. 2 and 4 becomes 6/5, and then I just take one whole out of this and add it to the whole number, and so that's 2 and 1/5. Essentially, I just treat them as if they're positives, add them together like I did kind of at the beginning of the year, and then just make it negative. So what you'll notice here on all 4 of these questions is the fact that you should just be adding them together because they're both negative. I kind of skipped the fact that like this is -14 and that becomes another extra 1. If you have questions on this letter B, make sure you ask about it. Notice I'm leaving these fractions mixed number if I can. Decimals are often easier for students. Just add them up like money or any decimal and then just make sure the answer is negative for that situation. Okay, this is just a visual representation of the same idea, so it's a little bit more clear-cut than maybe my general idea from the first couple slides. If you look here, this is going backwards 2 and a tenth and forward 3 and 7/10, so that's one of each, so that's subtraction. That's how you can find that answer. And then remember, if they go the same direction, they're on the same team, and so you just add those together because you have more of the same group. So the key is that the rules are exactly the same as what they were for integers. So the reason that I slowed down a lot in the first chapter and make sure we're clear about the rules is because when we get to rational numbers, the same rules apply. So if there's 2 negatives you're adding together, add them up, make it negative, one of each, subtract, and figure out which one is larger. Okay, so please make sure that you're clear on those ideas as you're going through this lesson. This one here, 5/4 plus -3/10. You'll notice there's not a common denominator, so you have to make sure you find one. That'd be 8 out of 10 and -3/10. Notice this is 1 negative, 1 positive, so it's really subtraction. 8 minus 3 would be 5/10. And then don't forget, always, always, always simplify your answers for any of these questions. So please make sure that you do that as you're looking at your homework. Here's a few decimal questions. The key again is what should I be doing here? Well, one's negative, one's positive. So I always take the larger as if it was all positive, larger number, so 7.62 minus 4.05. You want to make sure you can try those out. Work with this a little bit. I don't mind you checking your answers with your calculator, but try it out first to make sure you show a little bit of work as you're dealing with these questions. And then these two together, add them up, the second one, because they're both negatives. So the most common mistake is you add them up and get 10.18, but you forget to make it negative in your final answer. So a few things to keep in mind as you're looking at those questions. Should be 10.18 and make it negative because of the negative numbers being, or both negatives originally. Okay, your homework today, section 2.2. Make sure you go to the exercises in section 2.2. The first group of problems is like just taking two numbers and adding them together. The last 4 questions are just some review questions to work on. Make sure you're testing out your work. Try it first. Check your odd answers. If the odd answers are in good shape, you're probably in good shape for the lesson. And then we'll continue on with rational numbers next time. Have a good day, everybody.